Chapter 41. It was a horrendous sight. Nero's skin was torn all over her body. She was raw. Even in some parts of her body, you could see her bones. Her eyes rolled and turned white, but were stained with her blood. It was absolutely terrifying. Even though she was in this state, she still stayed awake, but her eyes were no longer alive, dead, Ace-10 said with a sigh. As if he had lost a toy he loved. Boom. But then, a burst happened. Before Ace-10 could react, Nero pulled out what was holding her down. Her black hair turned white, and there were some pink threads, and she walked towards the pair of white wings, and in a coarse and horrifying way, she tucked the pair of white wings on her back. As incredible as it seemed, the pair of wings started to flap, and that was when a pink light came out of her palm and opened a hole in the wall, and Nero left the laboratory, flying through the air. The hell? What the foo #K was that? Ace-10 swore. It was the first time since he arrived at this place that he had been afraid. Nero woke up in the middle of the night scared. She was shaking from head to toe. Rising from the bed, as white as a ghost, she went to the bathroom to wash her face. That shit dream again. Nero swore as she wiped the tears from her eyes. She felt like throwing up and trembled whenever she remembered what she saw and felt in that damn place. What kind of torture this girl suffered until she couldn't take it anymore and she died. Nero looked at herself in the mirror inside. She still couldn't understand what exactly happened at the end of her dream, when after dying, she stole the wings from the lab and flew away. While everything remained a mystery to her, Nero managed to calm down. She took a shower and put on her leather clothes, and then sat down on the bed. Even though it was still very early, it wasn't even 5 o'clock in the morning, she no longer wanted to sleep. When it was 7 a.m., someone knocked on the door. "Nero, are you awake?" "Yes," Nero responded, hearing Choco's voice. Choco opened the door and felt that Nero's mood was a little dark, but seeing Nero smile, she thought she had maybe imagined it. Choco then said, "Are we going to eat?" Nero nodded and said, "Yes." Rising from the bed she was sitting on, Nero went to Choco and the two walked to the living room. Arriving in the living room, Latifa, who was waiting for the two girls, smiled warmly. Different types of sweet donuts were laid out on the table, be they white chocolate, milk chocolate, strawberry, etc. "You can eat it." "Well," Choco said to Nero. Nero was not feeling well because of the nightmare she had, but she still smiled when she nodded. She took a dark chocolate donut and started to nibble. "Very tasty," Nero murmured. Seeing that Nero seemed to feel better after eating something sweet, the pair of mother and daughter smiled at each other. One of the best things to cheer up a woman was to give her something sweet, be it cake or chocolate. Of course, not everything can be solved like this, but it was no accident that when a woman ends a relationship, she has a tendency to cry while eating something sweet, most often ice cream. After eating, Choco said, "Nero, I'm going to stay in my room absorbing the monster's cores. I recommend that you do that too, and then we can go for a walk around town and sell the items that fell from the monsters. What do you think?" "Great," Nero smiled at her. "I'll go do that." "Okay, see you later." Choco left as soon as she said that. Nero went to the room where she was staying. Sitting cross-legged on the bedroom floor, Nero removed 26 level 4 monster cores from her inventory. "Absorb 26, monster core, level 4 yes/no." "Yes," she clicked. "You have increased 35 energy points. You have increased 35 strength points." Notice. Strength and energy attribute limit reached. You have increased 5.9 extra points. An absurd amount of power circled Nero's entire body. She felt every particle of her body growing stronger. A pleasant sensation came along with her increased strength and energy. Alert, new function unlocked. Agility attribute can be increased with extra points. Nero, who saw the new holographic screen, opened her status to confirm. Nero Diaz, breed, hybrid, class, uneven, subclass, enchantress. Rank F, level 2, 2650 monster core. Rank F, level 3, attributes, energy, mana 119, strength, hybrid 108, agility, hybrid 2110, 14 extra points. When she clicked on agility, the option appeared, and she clicked 14 times. 14 extra points was awarded in agility. When the agility points were increased, Nero had a false impression that everything was slower, but it only lasted a few seconds, and then she felt that everything was back to normal. She got up and punched in the wind, realizing that she was faster than before and much more powerful. Looking at the hunter card normally, she saw that she was at level 6. "I still have other monster cores. I will now use the 15 level 5 monster cores I have left." Nero told herself and went back to sit on the floor. Absorb 15, Monster Core, level 5 yes/no, yes, she clicked. You have increased 58.5 extra points. Nero then distributed those extra points in agility. 58.5 extra points was awarded in agility. This time, Nero opened her eyes as she felt everything slow down. She got up, and it seemed fast, but at the same time slow. It was a strange sensation. Just after 1 minute, that strange sensation passed. Strange thing. Nero muttered in her mind. To be honest, Nero was amazed at her speed. Being fast was a huge advantage. She was not sure, but Nero had a feeling she could run at nearly 100 kilometers an hour. In addition, her reflexes also improved. She saw that if she wanted to catch something before it hit the ground, she could do it with ease. She continued to stay in the room doing some tests. Of course, she tried to avoid using her strength since she didn't want to accidentally destroy something. Nero knew it would take Choco more time to finish absorbing the monster cores than she herself had. After taking a shower, she spent most of the time left lying in bed while waiting for Choco. Chapter 42. It was 2 p.m. when Nero and Choco finally left the household. On the way from Choco's home to the hunter's pavilion, Nero and Choco strolled around laughing and talking. Many things and preferences that the two girls did not know about each other were gradually discovered while talking. I didn't expect you to be afraid of cockroaches, Nero. Choco laughed so hard that her shoulders were shaking. She covered her mouth, trying to contain her laughter, but was unable. It's not really fear. I'm just really disgusted, Nero admitted, feeling a little embarrassed. I also feel that. After all, cockroaches are very ugly and disgusting, Choco, having calmed down after laughing so much, said, we are here. Nero stopped and saw the hunter's pavilion. Come, let's go in. Choco took Nero's hand naturally and entered the hunter's pavilion. The two girls went to the item counter and were met by a woman full of smiles who said, welcome, how can I help you? Choco said, we want to sell some items. Okay, you can put it up here. She indicated for them to place their items on the counter. Choco nodded and removed the items. The woman evaluated the items and then paid for them. Everything comes to a total of 2,495 essence coin. She was slightly surprised by the amount of items Choco had to sell. She already knew how much Choco could normally acquire, and it was not long ago that Choco had sold other items, which meant she got it all in a short time. With a smile, she said, Miss Choco, here's your money, thanks. Choco was happy with the amount of coins she got and kept them in her hunter card. Miss, you also have items to sell, right? The woman behind the counter looked at Nero. Yes. Nero had already transferred her items into her hunter card, which she took out and placed many items that she accumulated all this time. The attendant took a scare due to the quantity of items, and after testing the quality, she discovered that it was of a higher quality than most rank F hunters could collect. As for what ranking Nero might be, she did not know, since this city was too small to attract hunters higher than level 9. Your name is Nero, right? Seeing her nod, the attendant smiled brightly and treated Nero even more politely. Your items sold for a total of 25,626 essence coin. Choco, beside Nero, felt her heartbeat very quickly. That amount of money was very high. It was no surprise that the attendant became more polite when talking to Nero. Nero also couldn't help but be happy. Now that she was rich, she didn't have to worry about money for a long time. Taking the essence coin, Nero saved it to her hunter card. Now she had a total of 29,287 essence coin. Leaving the hunter's pavilion, Choco bumped into someone. Look where you are going. A haughty voice was heard, but suddenly that same person said, oh. Well, if it is not my dear little sister, Choco, Maya? Choco felt her heart go sour when she saw who it was. Maya looked at Choco innocently and gave a beautiful smile while looking at her. At that moment, Choco, like all three girls who were with Maya, was stunned. In the blink of an eye, Nero stepped in front of Maya with a frightening speed that left everyone else in shock. Who are you? Maya was startled by Nero's arrival. Before Maya could react, she felt a tight grip on her neck, almost strangling her. Elaine, die. From Nero's body, a murderous intent exploded, leaving Maya suffocated, almost fainting under the pressure and tightness in her neck. Nero, why are you doing this? Choco was startled. She broke free from her stupor and tried to keep Nero from killing her sister. Although she did not like Maya, Choco could not let Nero kill her, otherwise her father would have Nero killed. Nero came to, and was confused by her actions. Why did I do that? she wondered when letting go of Maya's neck. Cough. Cough, cough. Maya coughed nonstop and pulled in some fresh air while her friends helped her. Getting a breath, Maya said, "I'm fine now, thanks, girl, are you crazy?" Seeing that Maya was fine, one of the girls said as she pointed her finger at Nero's face, "If you don't want me to break your finger, you better get out of my sight." Nero said without any patience. She was already confused by what happened, and seeing someone talking to her like that and putting her finger on her face made her angry. The girl was afraid to hear this from Nero, but she forced herself to remain calm, and with a humph, she walked away. She dared not provoke Nero, who had the courage to do what she did to the eldest daughter of the Chin clan. "Nero, why did you do that?" Choco asked. She was worried about what might happen now that she had harmed the eldest daughter of the Chin clan. Although she was also from the same clan and was a daughter of the patriarch, the values in the clan and because Maya was the daughter of the patriarch's wife made Maya the favorite daughter of the patriarch of the Chin clan. Maya, who was always treated like a princess and never suffered so much that she thought she was going to die, now looked at Nero with fear. She thought this white-haired girl was going to kill her. "Her eyes look like the eyes of someone I hate, and that's why I ended up confusing her." Nero made up an excuse which was not entirely a lie. She saw some of the sister of the former owner of this body when looking into Maya's eyes, so she said that, "I don't know what that person did to make you hate them so much that you want to kill her, but I think you should apologize to my sister," Choco said, softly. She knew how venomous Maya was, and now that Nero had done what she did, it was almost impossible for Maya to do anything. But at least she advised Nero to apologize in order to calm Maya's fury. "You are right, Choco." Nero agreed since she knew she was wrong. She looked at Maya, and even though she was still angry when looking at her, Nero apologized. "I'm sorry about that. I got a little out of control. Do you think everything is fine just because you apologized? You sinister girl. For no reason, you took my friend by the neck and almost killed her, suffocated her." Emily, Maya's friend, and Breno's ex-fiancé said. Her face was full of anger as she spoke. "If you really want to apologize, kneel in front of Maya and ask her for forgiveness." Chapter 43, Nero burst out laughing as if she had heard the funniest joke in the world. "Are you daydreaming? Do you really want me to kneel down and ask for forgiveness? What's so funny? I just said that for your sake. You better do what I said, otherwise dash." She didn't even finish speaking when Nero interrupted. "Else, what?" "Huh, I. Emily couldn't even think straight when looking into Nero's eyes. She felt as if a wild beast was looking at a helpless lamb, and with any sudden movement, she too would be attacked. Maya, who was in that time in silence, seeing that things were taking a strange direction, and as much as she wanted Nero to attack Emily and be punished for it, she knew that if she just kept watching, the others could start a fight here that would probably do more harm than good. "Emily, thanks for defending me. I'm fine, I swear. She already apologized to me, so she doesn't need to talk about it anymore. She just mistook me for someone else." "Okay, Maya, I knew that you have a good heart. It is also better not to waste time with this crazy woman," Emily said with a gentle smile, then looked at Nero venomously and said, "You are lucky our lovely friend Maya is very kind and has decided to forgive you." Humph, but Maya secretly despised Emily in her heart, thinking, "My friend? If it weren't because you were once a friend of Choco's, do you think you would deserve to call me a friend?" Outside, Maya was smiling shyly, as if she were happy with Emily's words. Emily was originally a friend of Choco, but because of an accident, Emily started to hate Choco and became Maya's best friend. Another girl with dark hair and blue eyes said, "Come on, Maya and Emily. Don't mix with this riffraff." "Yes, let's go," Emily agreed categorically. Before leaving, Maya smiled adorably at Choco and said, "Dear sister, I will be waiting for you tonight for Dad's birthday, okay?" Choco just agreed. She wouldn't fall for her sister's tricks again after she found out that all she was doing had been laced with hatred toward herself. "Bye. See you at the party, little sister." With those words said, Maya left with her friends. "Choco, sorry for being sincere, but I don't think your sister is a sweet-smelling flower," Nero said. "Although she looks adorable, I can say that she is a toxic person full of poison, wanting to harm anyone who gets in her way. And from what little I saw, you're in her way." "Yes, I know," Choco murmured, sadly. "Oh. Since you know, I won't say anything else." Nero understood that something must have happened for Choco to show such a sad expression. Choco forced a smile, and said while pulling Nero's soft, small hand, "Let's continue. Don't let this spoil your mood. After all, today we went out to have fun, yes?" Nero agreed, and with Choco holding her hand, the two girls strolled through the city. "Let's go there," Choco said, and pulled Nero towards a clothing store. "Nero, you need to buy clothes," Choco said inside the store, pointing to many beautiful dresses and clothes. "Look, there are many beautiful clothes, and now that we have a lot of money, let's buy some. What do you think of that?" Nero said with a perfect smile. Okay, I also think I need to buy clothes. After all, I can't always wear your clothes or my leather outfit." Choco froze for a few seconds when she saw Nero's beautiful smile. Then she said as she picked up a blue one-piece dress, "Exactly. Come, prove it." "Okay." Nero took the dress and went to the dressing room. But before entering, Nero turned to Choco and timidly said, "Can you help me? It is my first time wearing a dress." "Oh." Choco was surprised, but soon she replied with a smile, "Yes, I'll come help." Arriving at the dressing room, Choco's heart was beating very hard. She forced herself to calm down while helping Nero to dress. "You are wonderful," Choco said, mesmerized. In Choco's eyes, Nero was the most beautiful girl on the planet. Dressed in a heavenly blue dress and with the pair of wings slightly showing, it made Nero look like an angel who fell from heaven. Nero smiled softly and said, "Thank you. You need to buy this dress. We will also look at other clothes," Choco said, smiling. After almost an hour of choosing clothes and shoes, Choco finally seemed satisfied. On the way back to her house, Choco asked Nero, "Do you want to go with me on my dad's birthday? Is it okay if I go?" Nero asked, "But of course, I would be happy if you did." Choco said immediately, "Okay, I will." Nero smiled. After passing through a chapel, the two girls only had to walk a little further until they arrived in front of the gates of the Chin clan. Entering, Nero noticed that the Chin clan was busier than usual. Logically, she understood that this was happening due to Choco's father's birthday. Thinking of Choco's father, Nero recalled that she had not yet seen him. And this would be the first time that she would see him. Not that it would make any difference to her, Nero decided to narrow the new dress she bought for Choco's father's birthday. Wearing the sky blue dress that showed her beautiful collarbone and a bit of chest, she was very charming, but she wore an overcoat to hide her wings since she didn't want other people to find out and end up having that complicating things for her. In front of a big mirror, Nero was feeling powerful. But, she thought, even though I have this body, I think the ex-owner of the body was no more than 14 years old, right? Nero started to fantasize of what she might look like in a few years. Since she was so beautiful now. If she matured and grew a little more, how beautiful would she be? Chapter 44. Nero left the room to look for Choco, but in Choco's office she saw Jana, Jair, and Breno talking to Choco. "Nero, you look beautiful," Jana, who saw her arrive, praised. Jana was wearing a red one-piece dress, looking very sensual. "Thanks. You look beautiful too." "Thanks," Jana smiled. Then, Nero looked in the direction of Choco, who blushed from Nero's gaze. Choco was stunning, wearing a purple dress showing some skin around her neck and next to her ponytail. She looked very beautiful and charming. "Choco, you look beautiful, elegant, and charming," Nero said with a smile. Hearing this, it made Choco blush furiously. Now she just wanted to find a place to hide her embarrassment. She said with a shy smile and covered her face, "Why, you are wonderful, thanks." Nero continued to smile at her. She thought it was cute the way Choco was embarrassed to the point that even her neck and ears were red. Jair and Breno, who wore black suits, praised Nero and were themselves praised in return. After that, they left Choco's mansion and walked on the grounds of the Chin clan, heading towards the main mansion, where the party was taking place. On the way, Nero received many looks of admiration, envy, and lust. It made her a little uncomfortable, but little by little she was getting used to it, although she didn't like the disgusting look of these men craving her body. "Disgusting," Choco said angrily while making many men look away ashamed. They knew Choco and would not dare to provoke the daughter of the Chin clan patriarch. "Calm down, Choco. It's all right." Nero stroked Choco's beautiful purple hair and said with a soft smile, "I know, but..." She murmured, "I don't like this at all." What surprised Choco most was that not only did men look longingly at Nero, even some women cast some flirtatious glances in her direction. Arriving in front of the main mansion, the guard recognized Choco and said politely, "Miss Choco, you and your friends can come in." "We will, then." Choco took Nero's hand and entered the mansion and walked down the halls until she stopped in front of the big party room. Princess Choco-chin is here. As soon as Choco entered, she was announced. Many guests in the party hall looked in her direction. Little sister, you are here. Maya went to her and said with a sweet smile, and hugged Choco lovingly. In her mind she thought with a chuckle, see, everyone is looking and thinking how loving and sweet I am with my little sister, yes. Choco nodded, wearing a flashy golden dress with a large neckline showing half her breasts, and wearing some gold accessories such as a ring and necklace. Malvina, Maya's mother, stood to the side and looked at Choco with anger and disguised disgust. Princess Maya is so cute, a young boy commented, the man who marries her is going to be very lucky. Another young man said dreamily. Maya said when she stopped hugging Choco, you look beautiful, little sister, you look very pretty, too. Choco said, of course, I am. After all, I am. Maya thought of telling herself that she was the most beautiful at the party, but when she looked at Nero not far away, she didn't have the courage to tell herself that she was more beautiful than she. It would be like saying that a chicken could fly. It was laughable that she thought she might be more beautiful than Nero. Damn, how can this girl be so beautiful? While she now thought so, many had already noticed Nero's presence. The first time they looked at her in amazement, then admiration for her beauty. And some women looked with envy, feeling inferior. Hello, we meet again. Maya looked at Nero and said with a lovely smile. Yes, Nero said with a simple and indifferent answer. She didn't like this girl from the start. Not far away, near a table, Emily murmured, this girl is so arrogant. She doesn't even respect Maya and is rude even when Maya is so kind to her. Saimora, a girl with long black hair, spoke, she is just an ignorant girl who doesn't know the vastness of the sky and doesn't appreciate a good person. She is certainly being deceived by Choco's face, it's true. Emily agreed and added with a sly smile as she took a glass of water from the table, I can't believe she's that beautiful. I bet she's wearing heavy makeup. Look and learn. Mora did not try to stop Emily. She continued to watch with a half smile, hoping to enjoy a good show. Maya, there you are. Emily pretended to trip and fell towards Nero with a glass full of water in her hand. Nero, who had increased agility by more than 90 points, saw everything happen and acted very fast. She didn't dodge and even caught Emily falling towards her, holding Emily gently in one arm and the ejected glass in her other hand, without letting a drop of water spill out. In a soft voice, she asked the astonished Emily if she was all right, who blushed furiously when she saw Nero's face up close. Without herself realizing it, she put her unoccupied hand against Nero's face and thought in amazement, so soft and smooth, this was clearly not a face with makeup. Even a thin amount of makeup would not leave the skin as smooth and supple as that. Emily was amazed. It was hard to believe that someone could be this beautiful without wearing makeup. Hello? Nero spoke again, bringing Emily back to her senses. Yes, yes. Thank you. Emily felt embarrassed. She pulled away while shaking the hand that touched Nero's face, and her face went as red as a monkey's ass, and Nero nodded. I'm going now. Thanks again. After saying that, Emily couldn't stand to stay there another second. She turned and fled, still holding the glass of water. Strange girl. Nero muttered in her mind. Chapter 45. After all this was resolved, some looked at Nero in awe. Her amazing reaction and the way she took Emily was quite charming. Some men were so thrilled that they couldn't get up from where they were sitting for a few minutes. Nero, you are very agile. I was very impressed, Maya said with a smile. She became more and more intrigued by Nero and started to think that it would be a good idea to befriend her. While the birthday party was taking place, Choco's older brother Fabio, heir to the Chin household, looked over at his sister Choco's direction, and when he saw Nero, he felt his heartbeat race. He rubbed his eyes, thinking he was hallucinating, and looked again. Beautiful. Too beautiful. He murmured dreamily in his mind as he couldn't look away. It was not just him who was constantly looking in the direction of Nero. Many other young masters of prestigious families in the city were looking at Nero with great interest. Nero, come with me. I will deliver my birthday present and we can leave here at any time, Choco said suddenly. She was not feeling comfortable here. If it weren't for thinking that her father would treat her mother badly afterward, she would have already left with Nero. Choco's father was a tall man with purple hair and blue eyes and a well-shaved beard with a mustache curving upwards. He wore a navy blue blazer and a white button t-shirt, with 3 open buttons exposing his hairy chest. He also was wearing black pants and black dress shoes. When Choco approached her father, he barely recognized her. If it weren't for the purple hair, he wouldn't have been able to recognize her at all. You are the... He tried to remember but failed. Father, I am Choco-chin. She had already expected this, so Choco reminded herself to tell him who she was when talking to her father. Then Choco, who was holding a small box, gave the box to her father. Here, father, this is my birthday present for you, thanks. Adam, Choco's father, laughed and received it shamelessly, and he didn't even care that he forgot she was his daughter. Let alone remember her name. Adam was known throughout the city for his strong sexual desire. He had 50 women in his harem, but he didn't think it was enough. Whenever he saw a beautiful girl, he would try his best to make her his concubine. Can you tell me your name, beautiful girl? The moment he saw Nero, his eyes shone a strange light. He thought she was a bit young, but still, my name is Nero. It is a pleasure to meet you, Nero said politely since he was the father of her friend Choco. However, she was disgusted by the look of Adam's from seeing her body, looking like he was about to undress her with just his eyes. The pleasure is all mine, Nero. You are very beautiful and hot. Did you know that? Adam said with a flirtatious smile, regardless of the age difference. And you are old enough to be my grandfather, did you know that? Nero pursed her lips in disgust and couldn't help from saying that. Haha. Age is just a number, young lady. Besides, I'm much more of a man than any young man your age. In fact, I know many techniques. Adam said ambiguously, with a malicious smile, trying to seduce Nero. Choco, who was watching this, had smoke coming out of her head and she was biting her lower lips to keep from bursting at any time. She clenched her nails in the palm of her hand so hard that blood started to flow. I don't care if you know a lot of techniques or not. And I don't care if you're fiercer than men my age, because I don't want to have a relationship with any man. Nero's patience was almost at her limit. She didn't like this perverted man at all. Damn it, she was only 14 years old. Even so, this old man was drooling over her, and the people around saw and said nothing. Seriously, if it weren't for Choco being this man's daughter, Nero wouldn't have minded teaching him a lesson. Choco, let's go. Nero couldn't take any more talking to this perverted, irrational man. She turned and left. Wait. The moment Adam said that, the party guards barred her way. Nero took a quick look and found these guards were at the top of level 5. Seriously, she just wanted to get out of this damn party, but did he really want to force her hand? Okay then, it is worth mentioning that Nero's current speed was at 93 points, and her strength was 100 points. It was almost the same strength as a person at the beginning of level 7. When she decided to act, even a level 6 would hardly be able to stop him. Bang! 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 Aw, really hurts. Punching sounds and cracking bones echoed in the party hall. Seeing this, everyone covered their mouths in shock when they saw that the guards who tried to stop the pretty young girl with white hair that had pink threads, that she had defeated them all with just a few punches. Causing the guards to whimper on the floor in pain, it was so fast that the guards didn't even have time to react and defend themselves. I'm going. Nero didn't even bother to turn around and continued walking, passing the moaning bodies lying on the floor as if nothing had happened. Wait for me. Choco left her stupor and ran after Nero, trying to catch up with her. She couldn't blame Nero for being so indignant. After all, her father, who was an old man over 50, was hitting on Nero, and even when she rejected him and wanted to leave, he didn't want her to leave. Adam took a deep breath and felt sweat trickle down his forehead. He himself did not expect this young girl to be so powerful. For the speed with which she moved, she should be at least level 7, right? My God, who the hell did I offend? Adam thought he needed to have a serious talk with his daughter of whom he didn't even remember the name anymore. Hey, you over there. Adam pointed to a young man who was not far away. Yes. The young man felt nervous in the presence of the Chin clan patriarch. What was the name my daughter said she had? He asked. It's Choco-chin, Patriarch Adam, the young man responded quickly. He dared not be slow. Oh. Go ahead. After that, the atmosphere of Patriarch Adam's birthday party got heavy for a while, but he went to Maya Chin to go up on stage and say that she would sing a song for her father. And the atmosphere started to get better. Wait for me. Choco's voice was heard by Nero, who turned and stopped walking. I'm sorry. I ended up messing up everything, Nero said, apologizing to her. No, I owe you an apology. My father was wrong to do what he did, he even wanted to use the guards to stop you. I understand your anger. Choco sighed with regret. She started to regret having asked Nero to come with her. She should have guessed that this would have happened if her father saw Nero, but before, it hadn't even crossed her mind. After all, Nero was very young, and although her father was a pervert, he didn't have women that young. At least, not that she knew of. Okay, let's forget about it. I think I better leave your house and look for an inn. Nero, after all, no longer trusted that she could stay safely in the Qin clan village. She wouldn't be able to sleep if she did this. Choco didn't know what to do. She wanted to say that it would be okay, that Nero could continue sleeping in her house, but she herself didn't know what her father was capable of doing. Reflecting a little, she said, I'm going with you. I know where there is a great inn. We can rent a room and sleep together. What do you think about that? Are you sure? Nero asked. Yes, I am. I have already decided. I know that my mother will understand, Choco said, decisively. Okay. Nero did not deny her. She confessed to herself that she would feel safer if Choco was with her. After all, she still felt like an outsider in an alien world. Chapter 46. When Nero left with Choco, she opened the system map. On the map, she saw some red dots inside and outside the Qin clan. That meant they were definitely enemies. Perhaps because she had offended the patriarch of the Qin clan, they were now treated as a potential danger. Even still, they managed to escape a state without being caught. Nero and Choco walked through the city streets until Choco said, "This place has good accommodations. Let's stay here." Nero vetoed her suggestion and said, "No, we are going to leave town. We'll have to camp in the forest and in the morning we can return." Of course, you can still return now if you wish, I don't want to make things difficult for you. Nero noticed that she was being followed. She knew that if she stayed in the city, it would be too risky for her. Perhaps Choco's father had done nothing so far because he knew nothing about her, but when he found out she had no support, it was almost 100% certain that he would act against her. Choco was silent for a few seconds, but strengthened her resolve. Whatever, I'm still going with you. You want to camp out? Then that is exactly what I want too. Of course, Choco was saying all this as lip service and not to make Nero feel guilty about dragging her into it. In addition, Choco also felt guilty herself about all of this, when the two guards at the city gate saw Nero and Choco leave in the middle of the night. Although they thought it was strange, they were not the ones who would get into trouble if something were wrong. Besides, it was the young princess of the Qin clan who was leaving. They couldn't let themselves say the wrong thing and end up offending her. When Nero and Choco left, passing through the city gates, Nero realized on the map that they were still being followed. Of course, she pretended not to notice and continued to distance herself from the city along with Choco. Nero, to the south, there's a lake where monsters rarely appear, and whenever they do appear they are at most level 3, Choco told her. Okay, we're going over there then, Nero replied and summoned Luna. Platinum Wolf, Luna, rank F, level 5, summoned, Luna. Choco was pleasantly surprised to see the silver wolf. But not wanting to scare the wolf, she managed to restrain herself and not hug her. Let's get away quickly. When we get close to the lake you mentioned, I'll make Luna be obedient and let you play with her a little, Nero said with a simple smile. It's a promise. Choco was excited, almost forgetting their current situation. Minutes later, Nero and Choco arrived near the lake that Choco had spoken about. Nero realized that the lake was very strange. It was extremely similar to a normal lake, but there were no fish here. All the water in the lake was clean and transparent, showing the bottom, and there was a big blue rock that was incredibly beautiful at the bottom of the lake. Choco was also surprised. She did not remember there being such a stone at the bottom of the lake, and had always been full of fish. Nero, seeing that even Choco was surprised, found it even more strange. However, she noticed that they were surrounded by the people who had been following them since before and thought that she had higher priorities at the moment. Choco, let's set up the tent, Nero said. She wanted to act as if she hadn't noticed that they were surrounded, since she saw from the map that the strongest level amongst the people following her and Choco was level 5. Choco nodded and took the tent from her hunter card. Before long, Nero and Choco had finished setting up the tent. Done, Nero smiled. Yes. Choco also smiled and asked, by the way, what do you intend to do next? I saw that enrollment for the Hunter's School in the Nan Empire starts next month. I'm thinking of enrolling. After all, if I participate in the hunter school, I will be able to go in dungeons of rank F, E, and D. Nero had seen this before in the city, but she was not as interested before as she was now that she intended to leave Esven town. She felt that the hunter's school would now be a perfect place where she could strengthen herself. Furthermore, Nero did not feel safe here. She was not a fool. Nero could imagine that the scientists from whom the ex-owner of the body fled must be looking for her. Oh. Choco was contemplative. She had never thought of leaving Esven town, but now, knowing that Nero intended to go to the Nan Empire, "Can I come with you?" Choco seemed nervous when asking this question. She was afraid Nero would reject her. However, what she didn't understand was that if she wanted to go, Nero didn't have a say whether she could go or not, but at that moment she didn't even think very deeply into it. "Yes, but are you sure?" Nero of course would feel safer if Choco went with her, however, she knew that unlike her. Choco had a life in Esven town. "Yes, I am." Choco took a deep breath and was happy to receive a positive response. "Actually, apart from my mother, Jana, Jair, and Breno, I have no reasons to stay. Furthermore, it has always been my dream to be able to become a Ranka hunter. Although I know it is difficult, almost impossible even, I do not want to give up." Choco at that moment was being sincere. She had had the dream when she was young, but she had given up on it. However, meeting Nero made her believe in her dream again. "Okay. I won't stop you, but how do you intend to tell your mother about this? And won't your father make things difficult for her due to your absence?" This was what Nero was most concerned about. When it comes to that, I don't have to worry. Although it doesn't look like it, my mom is a rank 6 hunter. At Esven town, there aren't many who can go against her. Besides, there's my grandfather. Choco stopped talking when she mentioned her grandfather. There seemed to be a profound story behind it. "Okay, I am so relieved." Nero smiled. While they were talking, the group of people who were just lurking before appeared from the foliage. "Miss Choco, come back with us. And you, insolent girl, you need to come back with us and apologize to Patriarch Adam." Wearing dark green clothes, a tall man with nearly 200 centimeters of short brown hair laughed coldly, full of mockery. "It would be even better if you agreed to be Patriarch Adam's concubine. Big brother, she is very hot." One of the men who appeared in dark green clothing said, licking his lips lasciviously with no intention of disguising it. If we played with her some before, and then took her to Patriarch Adam, might she become more obedient, bastard?" Choco closed her hands tightly, driving her nails into the palm of her hands. She then took out a pair of red gloves from her hunter card. Choco was prepared to fight, with no intention of going back and handing Nero over to these bad guys. Nero, who had been silent all this time, walked up in front of the man who had said these disgusting things, and with a dagger that she took from her inventory, she jumped in the direction of the man and with a spin. Looking like a spinning top, she cut the man's neck off cleanly. "Moron." Nero spat on the ground with contempt as she landed on the floor. The over 10 other men in green clothes took a while to show a reaction. It was all so fast that they were only able to see Nero standing in front of the body lying on the floor without his head. Chapter 47. The over 10 men in green clothes took a while to show their reactions. It was also very fast that they were only able to see Nero standing in front of a body lying on the floor without its head. "You defeated the human, swordsman, rank F, level 5, the leader who spoke before, saw the head roll towards him with its eyes wide open in total disbelief of his own death. Before, Nero did not cause confusion and did not kill at the birthday party out of respect for Choco, but since these men had the intention of causing harm to her, Nero was not going to be polite to them either. The members of the Chin clan came to their senses when they heard a miserable cry. And that was when they saw a silver wolf biting one of the men's shoulder and tearing at his flesh with its sharp teeth which looked like razors. Nero jumped back. Using her speed, she put away her dagger and removed the bow from her inventory. The moment the short bow materialized in her hand, her strength increased by 10 points and 2 agility. Nero pulled the rope decisively and a dark arrow was materialized. Whoosh! The arrow was launched, whistling through the wind, and hit the head of the man who was being bitten by Luna. "You defeated the human, water mage, rank F, level 4. Luna was quick to run, returning to Nero's side without being attacked. Choco, who saw this, took a deep breath and exclaimed in her mind, "Did she get too strong?" At the same time that she was happy with this, Choco was also a little discouraged. This meant that she was getting further and further away from being able to fight alongside Nero. Shaking her head from side to side, she denied all these negative thoughts and decided to act and think afterward. Monster? The members of the Qin clan screamed in their lungs. They knew that this young girl was strong, but they didn't expect her to be so abnormal. Monster. Nero muttered, and then did something that shocked everyone. Not a monster. Maybe an angel. A pair of beautiful wings appeared on Nero's back and she flew. Nero looked like a heavenly being. Beautiful and perfect, and her smile was as bright as the sun, but for those men of the Qin clan, it was more frightening than a demon's smile. When the hand of the leader of those men reached out to cast a spell, there was a sudden whoosh sound and a dark arrow deeply etched into his right shoulder. Immediately, his right shoulder started to be corroded. The leader was so shocked that his soul almost left his body. Dark element. There was no need to guess that this was one of the most dangerous elements, with one of the biggest offensive damages. Fortunately, it wasn't long until the dark arrow disappeared, otherwise he would have turned into a pool of blood. Attack together. Don't stand still. She's too strong. The leader put his hand on his injured shoulder and shouted, terrified, yes. The members of the Qin clan did not dare to be slow about this. Nero was a real threat. Ha! Choco gave a shrill scream and ran towards a man holding a sword. Pow! Choco's small hand, which had now become huge thanks to her red glove, punched in the direction of the man who used his sword to defend himself. Blem! The metallic sound echoed, and the man lost strength and was forced to retreat. Nero, knowing that if she remained in the air would allow Choco to be in danger if she was surrounded, went down and summoned another monster, demonic acid slime, rank F, level 4, summoned. Now the fight was 4 against 10. Seeing that Nero had descended from the air, the men were glad in their hearts and rushed at her with attacks. The leader, who was intermediate level 5, went the fastest and cut the figure in two with his sword. He smiled coldly and said, idiot. However, he froze immediately. He froze because Nero's body had magically disappeared. The thing he cut in two was not really Nero's body, it was a tree trunk that was taken from Nero's inventory and had replaced her. So, where had the real Nero gone? You are the idiot. Nero had crouched down and exchanged the bow for a dagger. She drew the dagger from between the leader's legs up to the man's injured shoulder. Damn! The leader swore and fell backward, spitting blood as his body was split in two as he fell to the floor with a deafening thud. You defeated the human, swordsman, rank F, level 5, leader. The members of the Qin clan seeing this were afraid, and although they were angry and wanted to take revenge, they had already realized that it was impossible. This girl with wings was very abnormally powerful. The demonic acid slime that was being ignored by the members of the Qin clan spat acid and caught the face of a fire wizard, disfiguring his face and leaving him blind for a few seconds. Luna acted and she roared, biting the man's stomach, and with a strong tug, she tore half of the man's torso off, causing his guts to come out. Silver Wolf mascot has defeated the human, fire wizard, rank F, level 4, run away. The rest screamed as they turned and started to run. Fear was visible on their faces. For them, there was no hope of victory. Nero changed the dagger for the short bow again and pulled a dark arrow, and fired at one who was fleeing towards the lake. Whoosh! The arrow whistled and caught right in the middle of the man's back, causing him to fall into the lake, which began to be tinged red with blood. Choco, on the other hand, had finally managed to kill a man. Although she did not feel comfortable killing someone, these men could not be forgiven for saying that they wanted to harm Nero and hand both of them over to her father. Roar! From inside the lake, the big blue rock came out and roared. Nero looked and saw a turtle's head, the size of an adult lion's head, roaring, and then opening its mouth, it started eating the body of the man who had fallen into the lake. Marine monster, mutant turtle, rank F, level 6, my god. This thing is at least level 6. The men of the Qin clan wished they had 4 legs with which they could flee. Nero did not bother to chase them, as she now had a bigger problem. Choco was frozen in place. She tried not to breathe, as she was standing very close to the lake. Neo saw the monster looking in Choco's direction. Damn it, she cursed, and flew using his wings at full speed. Although she was not confident of winning against such a behemoth, she was sure that she could at least grab Choco and escape. I need to make it in time. Nero felt more anxious when she saw the turtle that was huge, but somehow fast, heading towards Choco. Chapter 48. Choco was very close to being bitten by the mutant turtle, but then Luna, who was nearby, jumped and headbutted the mutant turtle. Although she was unable to hurt the turtle at all, she was able to deflect the turtle's focus from Choco. Nero had already materialized Get's short bow and pulled the bowstring, shooting a dark arrow. Whoosh! Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr its right eye, with an even more ferocious expression. The turtle did not give up and went to bite in Choco's direction again. Watch out! Nero screamed in the air and arrived in time, punching through the air. Looking like a tornado from an external perspective, she spun in mid-flight and landed a powerful punch on the mutant turtle. Boom! Nero's kick was not one to be underestimated. With a strength of 110 when holding the short bow and along with her speed being almost 100 points, Nero's kick was very strong. Even the large body of the mutant turtle was thrown away, crossing over the lake by an extra 4 meters. Nero made her wings shrink as she stood in front of Choco and said, "How are you?" "Are you hurt?" Choco came to, and she felt her legs were wobbly and noticed she was sitting on the floor in an M shape. She replied after catching her breath, "Yes, but I was so scared that my legs went wobbly." To be honest, Nero had a bit of greed when looking at the big mutant turtle, wanting to make it a hired monster. However, seeing Choco's current state, she sighed and said, "Let's get out of here, for now. The turtle will come back." Nero did not continue what she was going to say because, as bizarre as this situation was, the turtle fell on its back and was unable to get up. Okay, if it was a normal turtle this sort of thing would be normal, but this was a level 6 mutant turtle. "Yes, wait here. I'll be right back." Nero hurried out, making the pair of wings on her back expand and flap very fast. She crossed the lake, and with the short bow, she started shooting arrows over and over. Whoosh! 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 Boom! 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 The defense of this turtle was strong, but the bottom part of the mutant turtle was its weak point, which is precisely why Nero managed to hurt and leave the turtle almost dead. But it hadn't stopped fighting yet, fidgeting in the hope of getting around. Now, Nero approached the turtle and used exclamation point. "You have captured the water monster, mutant turtle, rank F, level 6, he. Success!" Nero whirled in the air, chuckling happily. It was a good thing to get a powerful new mate. Besides, it was quite big. She could use it as a mount possibly. Yes. Meanwhile, the large blue body of the mutant turtle began to glow and soon after, it entered Nero's body. Remembering Choco, Nero flew to her. Choco's small face was still deathly pale. Nero came over and when she was very close, she knelt down and hugged Choco. "It's okay now, yes, thank you." Although in shock, Choco was able to speak. She scolded herself several times during that period. She hadn't expected to become such a burden, as if she knew what Choco was thinking. Nero said, "We will work hard together and pass the hunter school test." Yes, although it was only a few words, Nero's statement touched Choco's heart strongly. Choco felt motivated again. Although she was insecure, she replied, "Yes, I will do my best, that's how it has to be." Nero pulled away from the hug and smiled. After that, Nero dematerialized the short bow, Luna and demonic acid slime as well. The humans Nero and Choco had killed, Nero took and kept in her hunter card. She intended to feed demonic acid slime with them later. "Are we going to dismantle the tent?" Choco thought it best to get out of there, so she looked at Nero and asked, "Yes, we better get away from here. I'm going to carry you around a bit and fly somewhere. I bet that soon many people from the Chin clan will come seeing as some of them have fled and possibly will talk about what happened here. And the existence of this turtle is very abnormal, they may want to profit from it." Nero said this because it was not normal for a level 6 mutant monster to be in the beginner's forest. Okay. Although she was a little shy when thinking about flying in Nero's arms, Choco did not reject the idea. After dismantling the tent and putting everything they brought with them in her hunter card, Choco said, "We can go now." "Yes, hold on tight to me." Nero picked her up, and Choco wrapped her arm around Nero's neck. Nero then spread her wings and started flying with Choco in her arms. Wow! It was the first time in her life that Choco had flown. She was pleasantly surprised at the sight of the forest from above. "Very beautiful, yes?" Nero said with a smile, "Yes. But it gives a little chill in the belly." But it feels nice, I think." Choco looked at Nero's smile and looked down at the forest. Nero continued to fly, heading towards a waterfall that she had managed to spot. Both she and Choco were soiled with blood, and since it was a few kilometers away from where the two were before, they could stop for a while to wash themselves, and then she and Choco could continue going further towards the Nan Empire. There were many plants and flowers near the waterfall. It was very beautiful, a real feast for the eyes. Nero's speed slowed as she approached. She also started to glide and descend towards the waterfall. Nero, are we going to wash at the waterfall? Choco asked. She also considered washing herself, as the smell of blood was unpleasant. Yes, that is my intention, Nero responded and went down more and more. Nero went down very close to the beautiful flowers she had seen near the waterfall. Chapter 49. This wasn't the first time that Choco saw Nero undress, but that didn't stop her from feeling nervous and even a little excited. Nero was very beautiful with clothes. Without clothes she doubled her charm. It was no wonder that Choco was acting like that. Aren't you going to take your clothes off? Nero turned around, as she had heard no sound of clothes being taken off, and asked while looking at Choco, "Ah yes." Choco's face turned apple red. She took a deep breath while trying to calm down. After managing to calm down, she also took off her clothes, piece by piece, until she was completely naked in the moonlight. This time Nero looked at the map before entering the waterfall. She did not want to make the same mistake and end up entering the waterfall with a monster disguised behind it. Luckily there were no monsters, apart from some low-level fish. She could therefore enter the water without worry. Of course, at all times she left the map open, staying on alert if any monsters or enemies arrived. Choco did not get into the water right away. She took her hunter card, and from inside, she took out some hair wash and body soap. As a hunter, she always carried these things on her hunter card. She had thought of removing them when she returned to town, but now she praised herself for having not done so. Nero, look what I brought. Choco held a wooden basket with shampoo for hair and soap inside. Because it was made of wood, even when placed underwater, the basket floated. That's great. Nero was pleasantly surprised. If she and Choco had washed themselves with water alone, it would not be enough to remove the stench of blood that was present on them. At the edge of the waterfall it was not deep, so Nero and Choco stayed there, as it would be difficult to wash even their hair if they had to swim at the same time. The waterfall they were using was in the southeast, well away from Esven town. Nero believed that they would not be easily reached, but she didn't know much about this world and didn't know if they would have any way to move quickly and get to where she and Choco were currently. For this reason, she intended to fly back towards the south, where the nudist beach was that she had woken up for the first time in this world, but she intended to go near the nudist beach, since it was easier for her and Choco to go later on towards the Nan Empire, which was in the west direction. From there, close to Nero, Choco handed her the soap while she was left with the liquid hair soap, and started washing her head. She caught a glimpse of Nero extending her long, thin, gorgeous arm as she rubbed the soap over it. Choco forced herself not to look because her heart couldn't take it. She finished washing her hair and said, "I'm done. We can change as soon as you're done too." Nero, "Okay, I'm almost done," Nero said as she lifted her leg out of the water. It was a very awkward position that almost made Choco have several nosebleeds. Was that intentional? Despite knowing that it wasn't, Choco started to wonder while holding her nose. Done. Nero turned and smiled at Choco, placing the soap in the wooden basket. Thanks." Choco took the soap that had just passed over Nero's body and started to think that she was a pervert for having impure thoughts, since she would use the same soap as Nero. Oblivious to everything that went on in Choco's mind, Nero poured some liquid soap into her hand and started rubbing it through her long white hair with pink threads. After finishing washing, the two girls dressed in a different set of clothes. Choco wore black pants and a gray t-shirt with a dark blue jacket on top and black sneakers. She also tied her purple hair in a ponytail. Nero wore her leather outfit, as it gave more attributes when wearing it, and it would be nice if she got into a fight again. She also tied her hair in a ponytail, since she intended to fly. "I'm going to take you in my arms again, okay?" Nero said, approaching, ready to take Choco in her arms. Choco nodded in silence. In the air, the experience of flying was more pleasant, perhaps because her body was no longer sweaty and soiled with blood. Or perhaps it was because her heart was more prepared. In any case, Choco was happy to be able to fly. She looked in all directions and even the sky looked more beautiful, with the moon seeming to be able to be touched with her hands. She even made a foolish action to reach out to the moon. Her action made Nero laugh a little, finding it cute. "We are going to go down and camp here. There are no monsters around, and we are already far away. I don't think they will find us here." When they had gotten fairly close to the nude beach, Nero made her descent. She saw only a few slime monsters, but they were all low level. The strongest was level 2, which did not pose a threat. Yes, thanks for the hard work, Nero. You must be tired from flying all this time carrying me in your arms. Let me be the first to watch, and you can sleep peacefully, Choco said gently. She hoped to be of some help and let Nero rest. Actually, I was thinking about leaving Luna and Slime on guard and the two of us sleeping together. After all, it has been a long day, and you must be tired too. Nero gave another option, which was actually the best option since they could both sleep. And with Luna's instinct and strength, both Choco and Nero could sleep peacefully. As for the mutant turtle, Nero did not think to summon it, since it would attract a lot of attention. Okay, as it is, I will accept your offer, Choco agreed. Before long, Nero and Choco set up the tent, and Nero summoned her two monsters. She ordered the two to stand guard and entered the tent with Choco. As worried as the two girls were, they were also very tired. The moment they lay on the mattress lying on the floor, Choco and Nero fell asleep. In the middle of the night, Choco felt a little cold, and maybe because of the human heat next to her, she hugged herself in something warm and soft. A happy expression colored her face while sleeping. Chapter 50. In the middle of the night, it was very quiet, to the point that Nero and Choco were able to sleep soundly. While the two girls slept, suddenly they heard a very loud sound. It was terrible. It was loud enough for the two to wake up startled. Enemy attack? Nero got up drowsily but forced herself to wake up. Let's go out soon. Choco didn't even care about her image, and she rushed out with her unkempt hair, and then that's when she saw it. Nero also went out and saw the same thing as Choco, and her expression became peculiar. Luna was on top of a tree, sitting on the branch of the tree and howling loudly towards the moon. It was as if she wanted to communicate with someone on the moon. Nero and Choco were at a loss for words. They realized they were worried over nothing, especially Nero, who opened the map and saw that she had no enemies nearby. Luna, get down from there and stop howling, Nero ordered. Luna stopped howling and looked at Nero. She then looked at the full moon again and howled again. Don't make me dematerialize you, Nero said in a dangerous tone. She started to wonder why Luna was not obedient like Slime. Looking over at Slime, Nero saw Slime had not even made a sound and was continuing to patrol all this time. Hearing this, Luna blinked with intelligent eyes and knew it was not good to disobey if she wanted to remain there, without having to return to the summoning realm. Which was a pleasant place, but it was very small, and since she was a free-spirited wolf, Luna did not like small places. Luna jumped from the branch of the tree and cast a pitiful look. Okay, now stay here obediently, and stop howling. If not, I'll actually make you come back. Do we understand each other? Nero looked at Luna when asking. Luna nodded with her wolf's head and was sad. She had wanted to demonstrate her adoration for the moon goddess, but her new teacher did not want to listen. Choco saw this scene, thought it was cute, and laughed in secret without Nero seeing it. The next morning, Nero woke up with the sunlight on her face. She stretched and noticed something clinging to her waist. That's when she looked down and saw that it was Choco, clinging to her without jumping, looking like a koala. Choco, wake up, Choco. Nero tried to wake her up. Choco grunted sleepily and opened her eyes. She had been sleeping so pleasantly, hugging the best pillow she had ever hugged before, but she was now awake. She jumped when she noticed that it was Nero she was hugging. Nero? Choco blushed with embarrassment and said, "It wasn't my intention, I'm sorry, don't worry about it, I'm not upset. I just woke you up because it's morning." Nero smiled softly, and Choco nodded and took a set of clothes out of her hunter card. Nero did the same and started dressing. She changed into leather clothing that improved her status. Leaving the tent, Slime and Luna waited outside. Despite what happened last night, Nero was grateful that her wolf was on guard. She patted her head and said, "Now we are awake. You can howl however much you want." Luna rolled her eyes at Nero. After all, what was the use of howling now that she couldn't even see the moon anymore? Wouldn't it be silly to do that now? What is it? You don't want to? Well, then don't. Nero continued to tease Luna, while waving her hand in a relaxed manner, not even considering her wolf's feelings. Howl. Luna howled softly in protest but saw that this tyrant owner of hers was no longer paying attention to her. Unlike Luna, demonic acid slime wasn't very smart, so it didn't show much meaningful reaction. Slime just did what Nero commanded, which was also a good thing. However, Nero aimed to make this slime smarter and more like a human being at the same time, while still being obedient to her, which Nero thought would be perfect. As usual, Nero opened her map and saw if there were enemies nearby. Although it was in more distant places, the area close to her and Choco only had a few low-level monsters. Incidentally, there were some slimes not far away that were killed by Luna and demonic acid slime. Nero went to these slimes and used on the 4 slimes that were killed. 1. Level F Monster Core Level 1 has been added to your inventory. 1. Thin Stem Low Quality has been added to your inventory. 17. Essence Coin have been added to your inventory. 1. Level F Monster Core Level 2 has been added to your inventory. 1. Acid Goo Low Quality has been added to your inventory. 22. Essence Coin have been added to your inventory. 1. Level F Monster Core Level 1 has been added to your inventory. 1. Sticky Mucus Low Quality has been added to your inventory. 13. Essence Coin has been added to your inventory. 1. Level F Monster Core Level 1 has been added to your inventory. 1. Thin Stem Low Quality has been added to your inventory. 11. Essence Coin have been added to your inventory. Nero disguised what she did, pretending that she just took the 4 monster cores and walked over to Choco. Arriving in front of her, Nero handed over the 4 monster cores. She said, "Try to absorb the energy from these monster cores and tell me how it went." It was just a theory, but Nero came to believe that these monster cores being extracted by the system were more pure and with more dense energy than the cores extracted with a hunter card. Okay. Even without understanding, Choco nodded. After all, they were just a few low-level monster cores. There was no reason for her to be reserved about it. Choco sat on the floor and first she took the level 1 monster core, meditating and absorbing the energy from inside the core. Choco was shocked by the amount of energy that the level 1 monster core had. She took a deep breath, calming her racing heart, and continued to meditate. Only minutes later did she finish sucking the energy out of the monster core. Wow! Choco looked at Nero, genuinely surprised. She knew Nero had a lot of secrets, and her gesture of showing it to her now had meant that Nero had started to trust her. It made Choco feel happy in her heart. Seeing Choco's reaction, Nero didn't even have to ask, as she already knew the answer to her question. "Nero, I'm not going to ask how you were able to do this, but can you always do something like that?" Choco's eyes shone even more than a starry sky. "Yes, so whenever the time comes to use plunder on monsters, let me do it, and I will hand over the winnings to you." Nero was happy that Choco didn't ask, since she didn't want to make up an excuse and lie to her. It would be great. "I am counting on you, okay?" Choco clapped in a youthful way. She was very happy that Nero trusted her and shared something so amazing with her. "We are friends with common goals, you don't have to be reserved with me. In addition, I wish you to continue to stay strong, and then we can always hunt together." Nero smiled. Choco's maiden heart threatened to leave her chest. She was so moved that she wiped tears from her eyes secretly. And then she turned and gave Nero the best smile.